is a big way to save money. It's super important that you use a strategy, and it's super important that you use professionals. So your bonus, insurance. Life insurance is super important. How many people do have life insurance? Beyond their work. Good. Love to see it. It's something that we can work on. It's one of the things that's not in the Bible. It doesn't say you have to have life insurance, okay? So I want you to think that Jason said you have to have life insurance because the Bible said so. The Bible does tell us we should leave an inheritance for our children's children. And the reason why they mention it in church is because life insurance is one way to do that tax-free. It's also a way to get rid of what we call an estate tax. So the life insurance itself wipes out the estate tax. And so you work with accountants and you work with lawyers on how to set this up. In the beginning, just buy some life insurance. So you have it, work with a life insurance agent. And if they give you a crazy quote, just like I said with the CPA, send it back and tell them you can do better and like to shop you around if you can't do better. So I always give people the benefit of the doubt, ask them to do better, and almost all the time they do better. And so life insurance is something you can definitely shop. Some life insurance carriers that you might want to look at, MetLife, very expensive but very stable. Progressive, not as expensive, not as stable. Hartford Life, less expensive, definitely not as stable, but they've been around for a long time. They almost went under during the financial crisis. I was living through that because I had a Hartford life insurance policy. And one more that you can take a look at that I like to talk about because they almost went under too is AIG. It's a French company, kind of small. I think it's the seventh largest. So really good. What questions do you have so far over these 7 topics? Because I went over a lot of information, and I want to make sure that you get it. I'm here to serve you tonight. I'm here to make sure you get this. These are 7 basic things that you can do for your life, and I want to make sure that it happens for you. Yes, ma'am, in the back. Do we have a mic? All right, thanks.
So one of the things you were talking about to reduce your taxes, you were talking about the retirement account.
Yes, ma'am.
So I have a TSP. Is that the same as what you're talking about or something totally
So you own a business, right? I think a couple.
Yes.
Okay. Talk to a CPA about a business retirement account and throw the, how do I say this politely? It might be more advantageous for you to look at a business retirement account than a TSP. So a TSP is going to have a limit on it that's lower than your TSP.
Okay, so I'm still in civil service.
Right.
So do I wait until after I retire from there, then take what I have?
So with civil service, you've got 2 retirements. You've got a pension and you've got TSP, right? Is TSP mandatory?
No.
Okay. Talk to a CPA this year before next year about a business retirement plan, how it could benefit your business and how much you can put away versus a TSP. Here's the key. Have them do a side-by-side pro forma of the 2 plans. And that way you can see line item by line item which one's better for you. Retirement's always individual. That's why they tell you everything will always go into, at the end, an individual retirement account, or what we call an IRA. So each situation is going to be individual. It's really good you own a company. Take advantage of it. Because you have a company that's making money, right? Yes, ma'am. Oh, I thought you had a question. Yeah. Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
Should I change my, like, from Roth to TSP? Because I'm doing Roth right now.
Do you want a tax deduction?
I don't think so.
If you don't, then leave it the way it is.
Okay.
Yeah. Right now, it might be more advantageous for you. So it's based on your income. So there's income requirements for a Roth, And so the Roth, the benefit of a Roth is you can put money in it. You don't get the benefit of taxes today, but in the future when you pull the money out, you're not supposed to be taxed. So that's a huge benefit, especially because it's not just what you put in, but also what you made. So some people take their TSP and convert it to a Roth because they qualify. If you qualify based on your income, it's a good tool to use.
So does it matter if it's still, like, my taxes are still set for Georgia and not El Paso, like Texas?
Doesn't matter at all.
Okay.
Nope. I would suggest you continue to use your Roth. It's a good tool. If you qualify for it, use it. It's a really good tool. Yes, sir. I don't know who was first. Sorry.
I'm not sure if I heard you correct.
Yes, sir.
Did you mention that you need a brokerage to buy Apple stocks or any type of account?
So to buy stock, you're going to need either to work for that company. So if you work for Apple, you could buy Apple stock directly from them, or you need a brokerage account. And even if you work for the company, they're going to set up a brokerage account for you. So some of the carriers you can use as a review: Charles Schwab, Tasty Trade, Webull, Robinhood. They're all discount brokers, and you can buy stock in them. It's a really good question. The question was, do I recommend one over the other? I've used Schwab. I like the platform a lot. It's very beneficial. I like Tasty Trades too. It's a little more expensive, but the tools they offer for me are a lot better. So you want to use the platform where you're going to use the tools. If you're not using tools and you're just buying stock, then use the least expensive. The least expensive, Schwab, Robinhood. They're also the only two that have 24-hour trading right now. Who else? Yes, sir.
You had mentioned about starting a business and asking questions to a CPA in regards to what type of specific questions would be good to ask.
So if you're starting a business, it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to talk to a CPA right away. You want to have somebody that's helping you with the business. And so if you've got big income coming in, then you want to talk to a CPA right away. If you're just starting and you don't, you want to wait till the end of the year. And I'll tell you some months they're not busy, May to July. Really good time to talk to a CPA where they'll actually spend time with you. If you call them April 10th, they might hang up on you. Yes, ma'am.
So when talking about budgeting, my first question, is it okay to budget for offering? And if so, how do you take that into account?
So is it okay is actually scriptural. The Bible tells you to set aside a portion of income based on your or portion of income to give based on your income. And so I can give you that scripture before we leave if you like. But yeah, it's not only good to do, it's scriptural. Yeah, because we're not supposed to give under compulsion. So if you get here and God tells you something else, that's fine. But if you get here and you just, I need to give more because I need to give more, at the end of the day, like, you need to have it set in your heart already. Why? Because giving is a cheerful act. You don't want to walk away and you want to be happy about giving. When it's time to give, I get excited because I have in my mind what I'm going to give, and I have in my mind what I'm expecting in return. So it's, yeah. And it doesn't matter what economy it is. That was something the Lord told me too. He said, it doesn't matter what economy is. All my principles work in every type of business cycle. It's in Genesis 8. Seed time and harvest. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Sorry. It may be a loaded question, but so you know when you get like your business license and stuff like that, do I need to make an account, like a checkings account for my business? Yeah. Okay,
I'm going to use this as a good thing for you guys. Okay, so on business accounts, you want to have a business account, so you need to get an EIN. You can get this from the government website for Texas if you register it here in Texas. All you have to do is get my EIN. And here's the key. Start putting money in that account once you open it. Let it age for at least 90 days. Super important. And try to put in at least $5,000. The more you can put in, the better. Because then, if you want to borrow on that account, or if you want to develop a deeper relationship with a bank, it's a lot easier to do with your checking account more than 90 days old. Then you go in there, I open a checking account, I put $200 in there, and I need $10,000. They're going to look at you and tell you to leave. So age the account, play their game, and age it for at least 90 days. It's a really, really key tool. So I'm glad you asked the question because I had forgot to bring that up.
One more question.
Okay, is it loaded?
No.
Okay.
But like, when I do taxes, how does that work? Like, is it the same as like a?
I'll tell you how to do taxes.
Okay.
Take all the documents that you have for your taxes, all the things that you think are deductions that you've looked up through the tax code, drop them off at the CPA's office with a big smile, and leave. Why? I'm paying that guy to solve my problems, and I know that he's going to give me his version, and we're going to have a discussion about it. So I drop everything that I believe is tax deductible off, whether it is or not, and I leave it at his office. And he'll call me and say, $3,000 of this is not deductible. Did you think about this? No, I didn't. That's a great idea. Let me give you these receipts. And so transfer that like you would your life insurance. Transfer that to somebody else's hands. It's super important. So stand up, Kelton. I told you I was going to use you. This is what I do. Mike, here you go. Thanks so much. See you next week. It's literally what I do. It's not, if you're going to do your own taxes, that's one thing. You got a lot of work to do. But for me, my time, here's a really important financial thing that you need to understand. You need to learn what your time is worth. And your time in the beginning is not going to be worth as much as you think. Find out your career of what it is and what you get paid per hour. And then as your acumen grows, as your tenure grows, as your worth grows, then that value continues to go up. There's a lady, I don't see her tonight. She trades with me, and I have a saying. I said, every time I spend an hour with you, I need to make $500. And she kind of like, what? I said, every time I spend an hour with you, I need to make $500 because I need to make sure my time is paid for. And so learn to value your time. As far as to answer your question directly, leave it in the CPA's hand. What other questions do we have? Yes, ma'am.
It's a weird question.
I've had a loaded question tonight. Now I've got a
Okay.
weird one.
So, I heard a pastor say that investing is like gambling
Okay.
and that we shouldn't do it. What is your answer to that?
What does the Bible say? Turn to Matthew chapter 25, verse 16. Yeah. It's real simple. It doesn't matter what, it matters what the Bible says. Yeah. Just because you have a microphone don't mean you know everything. So it's super important. What does it say? Then he who had received the 5 talents went and traded with them. What's that word? Okay. End of story. So it's super important that we understand what the Bible says. And with the tools now, we can find this stuff. So accessibility to information and knowledge is not beyond your grasp anymore. It's learning how to use it. Or as the Bible says, rightly dividing the word of truth. Yeah, so I would strongly disagree and point out that verse. And there's many more. Yes, sir.
Can I say something on that as well, Mr. Jason?
You're the pastor. Say what you want to, Bishop.
That verse, and there are other verses, it starts off by saying, and he gave unto them 1 5 talents, 1 2 talents, and 1 1. That is an illustration that God is saying life is about investments because it deals with exchange. and you can go into exchange too if you haven't. Praise the Lord.
Yes, sir. And so he told them based on their acumen, or we call it in the Bible ability. Today we call it financial acumen. And so your ability can grow. People are asking God for money. They should be asking him what? To increase their capacity or ability. And they should be taking steps to do that like you are tonight in a financial class, to increase your financial acumen so that you can be a better investor, a better steward, and also a better believer. Because the one that had one, what happened to him? Not only did he lose his money, it says that he cast the unprofitable servant into outer darkness, where there's weeping and gnashing of teeth. You don't have to be a Bible scholar to know where that is. So it's very important. What other questions do we have? Yes, sir.
So when you open an EIN and you put money in there, is that like a form of investment, and is it separate from Social Security?
So an EIN is a tax identification number. It's a number that you're going to use. It's not an account. So it's a number that you're going to use with the IRS. So it has nothing to do with an account. If you want to, I'll show you how to do it.
Yes, sir.
All right. How much time do we have left? Okay. I call it the tax identification number.
Entity.
Yeah.
Entity identification number.
Yeah. Yeah. You can use the entity word, but I call it 10. Yes, sir. Hold on, wait for them. Go ahead.
If you open up multiple EINs, can that reflect negatively on you in any shape, way, or form?
No, it just gives your accountant a headache. Yeah, it's more of a problem for your accountant. You want to have a purpose for having an EIN because what you're developing is like a Social Security number. So you're developing an entity, so you want to have a purpose for it. That's really important. I'm going to start charging for questions for you.
Just to kind of piggyback off his question, but if I have multiple businesses, do I need multiple EINs or just one?
It depends.
Okay.
It depends on what sector in the economy they're in. So I use different EINs for different sectors. I'm all in finance, so unless I'm using a separate product or project, I keep all the same EIN. If you're using a separate sector in the economy, I use different ones. That's a strategy conversation to have for your accountant on how to do that and why you would do it. So I use them for that, and so far I haven't needed but 2, I think it is. I'm here to serve you guys, so keep them coming. Yes, sir, you got the mic.
I had to raise the hand first, schools. So, sir, a quick question on how do you properly read a candlestick? When you're reading in the stock, how do you properly read it?
This would be good to have a slide for. So candlestick formation, I don't know how to explain without something tangible for you to look at. So, but yeah, it's something you can get with me offline, but looking at a candlestick or a chart pattern is like an x-ray for a stock. And so what a candlestick does is it marks a particular time frame in the stock. It could be 5 minutes, it could be an hour, it could be a day, a week. And that candlestick movement is going to tell you where the stock least path of resistance is, whether it's up or down. So it's very important, but you need a chart to really show. Good question, though. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. I came with my own. So if somebody wants to, I won't say somebody. If I want to pay off my debt very quickly, do you agree with the snowball effect, or do you have a different strategy?
I think the snowball effect's very good if you use it, but a lot of people don't. I like to pay off the lowest balance first, and they typically tell you to focus on the highest APR. Right now, interest rates are high, everything's high. So I use the, praise the Lord. All right. Hey, can you pull up TradingView? And I'll go back to your question while he's doing that. On the actual snowball effect, I like to pay off the smallest balance first just to get rid of it because I like to celebrate when I pay debt off. I do like a money dance. I just did. That was about all I got. If it's a small one, I do a little wiggle. If it's a big one, I throw my hands up like Donald Trump. Yes, ma'am. Oh, here we go. All right, cool. Actually, that's my chart. Perfect. So right there, you see a bunch of candlesticks. That is a 4-hour chart. So every one of those little squiggly things up there that people talk and call a candlestick, that's 4 hours of trading time. So some of them are green and some of them are red. If the if the stock finishes in that 4 hours negative, then it'll show up red. If it shows up positive, it'll show up green. That little blue line that I draw on straight up is what we call a trend line. And to read those things, what we do is we see patterns. So right now, if I look at that, I can tell you that stock's going to continue to go higher, and I own the stock. It's called Goldman Sachs. It's a little small investment bank, probably like $10 trillion in assets or something. Really good stock to own. There's Apple. As you can tell, that chart's telling a different story. It's not going up as much, right? So it's not a stock I like to own as much. I own very little, but I do own some. And I own some because it's in all 3 indexes, and people have to buy it whether they like it or not. So those are candlesticks. That's what a chart looks like. That's what we call the stocks X-ray, or what it looks like. From a health perspective, I guess is a way to say it. Click on NVIDIA. You already had it up. And as you can see, that's the 3rd largest company in America, and you can tell the trend on that too is not sharply up anymore. Yes, sir. Oh, sorry. You've been standing for a while too.
I'm just saying. So, speaking of the trading and all that, I was going to ask about the Mag 7 and the stock market. Is that different, doing that from what the trade view and being online?
So Mag 7 is just picking those top 7 companies. If you click on TradingView, Dame, and then go to companies in the U.S., so go to home screen. Home, where it says home. Oh, that's me. Those are some spiky shoes that guy has on. Go to markets at the top. There you go. And then go down there where it says stocks. And there you go. Go where it says all stocks. There you go. All right, scroll down a little bit so everybody can see. Go back to markets and do stocks again. Oh, there it is. Large caps. There you go. All right, now scroll down. All right, now you can see the largest companies in America. Those first 7 right there, they're called the Mag 7. Apple, NVIDIA, Microsoft, Amazon, Alphabet, Meta, and Tesla. The top 7 companies in America. And guess what? They dwarf almost every economy in the world. Just those companies. If you don't think America is big, then yes, what are you asking? Okay, click off of the watch list, close it up. There you go. All right, so the red on there is the rate of return, or the earnings per share growth, I think is what you're seeing, because the rate of return is pretty much positive for most of them. And so it'll tell you up there at the top. Market cap is the size of it. Price is the stocks, which doesn't really matter, but the market cap is what they're looking at. So if you take a look at it, Apple's almost a $4 trillion company. 3.67 trillion. NVIDIA's 3.4, Microsoft's 3. So our top 3 companies in the world are worth over $10 trillion. No, that changes for the day. Yes, what other question do you have?
Yes, sir. So with that, in order to invest, stock, trade, you have to be diligent. You have to be sitting at a computer.
No.
Okay, so how do you do that? So like you have a 7:30 to 4:30 job, which takes an hour and a half drive either way. By the time you get home, it's 6:30.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sounds like a terrible schedule. I'm just kidding. No, if it is a bad schedule for trading and investing, right? So do you have a lunch hour? You don't? You don't get any time off to eat? Well, it'd be hard for you to invest. I'm just kidding.
My schedule is, I would get a 30-minute lunch.
Right.
However, where I work, there's nothing.
No,
So
I'm
I
going to
just
tell you
work
how to
through
do
my
it without.
lunch.
I'm going to tell you the real answer.
I'm sorry?
I'm going to tell you the real answer.
Okay.
I'm being funny. Sorry. So at night, there's a thing called a market order or a limit order, which I suggest over a market. And you'll put the price of what you want to pay for the stock, and you're either going to get it or you won't. And you put a limit by, and it'll actually tell you how much money you're going to invest and the price you're going to buy the stock. Click on Goldman Sachs again, Dame. Yep. All right. Click on a daily time frame. Okay. You see there's nothing above that, right? Click on the monthly. All right. So that goes back to 2007. What was the stock price in 2009? Like around 140 bucks, down to under 100. So you put the order in, you buy it, and you just let it grow. That's called a trending stock. It's trending up and to the right. You want to find stocks that are doing that if you're an investor. Also, it's in the banking sector. So if we continue to have interest rates go down, who benefits the most is banks or people that are tied to lending, like Tesla. And so it's very easy to invest. It's very difficult to trade for a lot of people because you need time. Everybody can invest. In fact, like I told you before, it's scriptural. So you find a stock that's uptrending. Go to NVIDIA. Pull up a monthly chart on that one. NVIDIA is the largest chip company in America. So they make chips like that's in this keychain, that's in the computer that they're working in the back. Yeah. And they're very focused on what we call artificial intelligence, and they're the leader in that space right now. So the trend that's going on right now is artificial intelligence. This stock was about $2 10 years ago, and now it's 140 almost. So this is what we call trend investing or investing in artificial intelligence. This is something that you can do. Right now we're going into another segment of that, which would pull up SNOW, S-N-O-W, which this stock is going to benefit more. Go to a daily, since it's not as tenured. Okay? That stock is also moving up and to the right. It's worth probably 230 bucks, which is about 15% below where it is today. Yes, sir.
How you was just speaking on like 2 years ago, how it was just about like $2 and I was at 144. Is it possible that you can stay in the trade that long as like being like investing wise?
Yeah. So you can buy things in options called LEAPS, L-E-A-P-S, or you can buy the company itself. So one of the easiest ways to get wealthy is to buy companies. If you want to buy companies that are publicly traded, that's what we're talking about right now. If you want to buy private equity, that's how you become a billionaire. Every billionaire in America has done it through some type of private equity venture. No deviance. So if you take a look at NVIDIA, before it became public, was private. And other people invested in that company before it came to pass. And now those people are reaping the benefits. And you can get involved in these type of things too. There's a website called Equity Zen. You can look at it, but if you're not accredited, you can't use it. But at least you can look at it and see the opportunities that people are getting into. Equity, last word is Zen, Z-E-N. Oh, you can pull it up now. With an E. There it is. It's down at the bottom. There you go. Equities in. There you go. See where it says, click login. Sign in with Google. And then just click on the I believe. There you go. Okay, good. So right there you can see all the things that are investable that you're not going to see in the stock market, or some of them are. We call them pre-IPOs. And you can look at the information in there. You can sign up for free, and you can look through there and become more, what we call, educated in the investment world. And this is a way you can get involved in a company before it goes public. It's pretty cool. Some of them are already public, and they're doing what they call secondary offerings. In other words, they're raising capital, and typically that provides a floor for that stock. What other questions do you have? This is pretty cool, right? Yes, ma'am.
Going back to investing and trading, I know you said that they're two separate things. So
Right.
to get started with it, I guess first thing to get a brokerage account and then go into the Mag 7 and I guess buy a stock in either all of them or a few of them and then kind of just let them sit till you learn how to trade?
The next step is start doing your research on the company. Start reading about them. Find out what you gravitate towards and what you understand. When you invest in something, you want to have an understanding of what you're buying. And that's why we do what we call due diligence, or, we research what we're looking at. I don't just arbitrarily buy things. And I don't sit there and research for 2 years either, because you'll miss the opportunity, but I want to know what I'm investing in. And a lot of times I've found out that children are really good leading indicators for a stock. Roblox, Snapchat. I'm like, what is this thing they're playing with? Snapchat. Oh, it's $9. If you click on Snap now, it's like $60, $80. So you can find out a lot by what people are buying or doing because of the fact we're in a consumer economy. And so it means that Americans spend more money than they save, which is really good if you're a stock investor. Pull up Ulta. Oh, are we disconnected? Okay. Anyway, if you take a look at a stock called ULTA, Ulta, ever been in that store? I don't like going because my wife, when she comes out, well, I won't tell you what she spends, but I don't, it's a maintenance package. Kind of, yeah. I do it for my car. She can do it for herself. It's perfect. So, yeah, you can learn what people are buying, and you can take advantage of it by actually, oh, there we go. There's Ulta. Not as beautiful as it used to be. Not something I would do. I don't even know the ticker for that, honestly. Try Etsy. It's coming. Earnings are coming up. ETSY. As you can tell, some things in the consumer economy don't go that direction. That's down and to the right. We don't invest in those things. We want up and to the right. Yes, sir.
So as we're looking at this right now, we can say it's in a downtrend. Can you still make money if it's in a downtrend?
Yeah, we call it short selling. So you can actually sell a stock and then buy it back at a lower price. You need a margin account to do that, typically $25,000 minimum balance, but you can do it. And so the cool thing about the stock market is I don't have to wait for an agent to get together with another agent and a buyer. They do that through a market maker, and they do that in seconds. It's a great thing about exchange. So in life, everything's about exchange. And so if we look at the stock market, it's one of the most beautiful ways to see that. Because we're exchanging with somebody else. We say the company's worth this, they say it's worth that. They exchange their shares, we exchange our dollars and buy it. If we think it's worth less, then we take their shares and give them money. And then when it comes back lower, then we buy it back from them, and now we give them back the shares, and they give us back the money. So, and the difference between the two is the profit. And so it's not like a real estate transaction where a short sale is a bad thing. In the stock market, short selling can be good. You won't hear that from an advisor. So I pray that you guys got something out of the class tonight. If you want to talk with me offline, you can. I'm happy to answer any questions for you guys, and I thank you for coming tonight. Bishop, do you have anything for us tonight, sir?
No, sir. I think it was a very good class.
Thanks, Bishop. Thank you.